Hello and welcome to the Jedi's Lighthouse. It's the 4th of July weekend, and that up there is a Confederate monument dedicated to Confederate soldiers. You might have a lot of things associated with this. I actually had a older black woman, probably in her 60s, maybe her 70s. I don't know, I'm not really good at gauging people's ages, but she was an older black lady, and when I asked her how she felt about this was in another clip, which I'm not going to play because she was behind the camera. She said she feels pride when she looks at that monument. By the way, this is the Anderson County Courthouse in South Carolina, and this is like take 20 for me, so I'm trying to make this shorter as I keep going. I think the longest one I had was 18 minutes long, but hopefully I'll get this down to 10. There are all kinds of mixed feelings surrounding that. Maybe the reason that the woman said that she feels pride is because she knows that because that war was fought, even though that's for the Confederate veterans, that because that war was fought, slaves were freed. But other people are going to look at this and they're going to say, no, that wrongs the whole slavery thing, because that's what they were fighting for. Some people look at this monument and they think, oh no, this was about economic freedom. Yes, that's taught down here too. It's taught that the war between the North and the South was more about economy and had nothing to do with slavery, even though, let's be real, the economy down here wouldn't be anything if it weren't for the slavery, at least not what it was. But the argument was that the North was taking all the money from the South. All of these things are mixed in with that monument. But in order for us to move forward, we need to take a look at what we have attached to this. And the Jedi compass, as Jedi, it tells us that we need to overcome our attachments. That's one example of it. Attachments are not just about the people that you have in your life. It's about everything that you attach things to. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to find every monument, good or bad, that's in your community that has something to do with the Confederate War. You can do this with other things too, and I'm gonna grab that pin, but you can do this with other things too. And you can have the same effect, but let's just focus right now on what's going on in the world, or what's going on in the US right now. So every Confederate related monument, that includes ones that depict slaves overcoming slavery. What do I mean by that? I was actually told about this recently. I haven't really looked into it, but if you guys find it, you can post a story down below. I'll probably go look for it later. But there's a monument where President Lincoln is standing there, and there's a black man who has chains, broken chains, and he's standing up with these broken chains, showing that it is depicting how President Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation into law and got the slaves freed. And so there's a slave that's being freed because of what Lincoln's actions were. And yet, a lot of black people were recently seen there protesting and asking for this thing to get taken down. Why is that significant? Why is that whole thing significant? Well, one, because it wasn't commissioned by just anybody. It was commissioned by free black slaves. Freed black slaves. In fact, it was a woman that started the whole commissioning. She took her own money to commission this. They designed it. Freed black slaves designed it. But that doesn't matter.
Hey guys, so I thought I would insert right here. I did go and I looked up that statue, which you can see on the screen in the previous clip. I'm fully willing to admit that I've gotten bad information. This was just something that I had heard about, and I went and I didn't do the research, which just points out how important it is for us to actually research and look into what's going on. So I kept the clip in there because I want you to see the two different stories and know that it's easy to fall trap into what other people have said. So the truth behind that that statue is that it was commissioned by freed black slaves, emancipated slaves. However, what was untrue is that they had no say in how the statue was designed. Had nothing. It was a white person that designed it, and they didn't get to really look to see what the design would look like before they commissioned it, from what I can tell. So they didn't even know what they were really putting their money into. And now that I look at the statue, it's really kind of demeaning. It definitely looks like someone towering over, and this is perspective. It's called non-lingual programming. So even if you didn't know that that was Lincoln, especially if you didn't know that that was Lincoln, and you just saw this man towering over a black slave that has broken chains, which it could even look like he was picking up the chains to put them on himself. I don't know. And apparently Frederick Douglass wasn't really on board for this either after he found the statue. So, yeah, information can get lost. Information can be bad. And that's what happened here. I got bad information. I got half of the truth and not the full truth on this whole story. So it's an important thing that if you're going and you're looking into this stuff, that you find the true backstory. And the internet is full of a wealth of information. Find the ones that have the facts. Anyways, I'll let you research that one on your own so you can find the information. And at first I was going to put it down in the comments. I'm not going to. I want you to look it up yourself. All right, back to the original mainstream.
Because what you see in that piece of art is unique to you. Should we get rid of it? Should we keep it? Those things need discussing. I'm personally pro get rid of it. If it's really causing that much damage to people, get rid of it. If it's not causing that much damage to people, keep it. But in order to find out what that answer is, we have to release what our personal feelings are to get to the active listening of what the feelings are of other people. Now, maybe this isn't your fight. People don't have time for everything. If you spread yourself too thin, which is a limitation that you have to be aware of, if you spread yourself too thin, you accomplish nothing. Nothing of value. You might get little accomplishments here and there, but you accomplish nothing of value. Nothing of value. But if you have the time to invest in a fight where you're working on trying to get rid of something like this, for other people, duty to all is the next point. Duty to all. And respect. If it turns out that the majority of the people, including, and I don't mean majority as in all the white people, I mean include the conversation of the minority groups that are looking at this.
So looking back at this part of the clip, majority was not the word I was looking for. I'm really bad at off the cuff trying to come up with what I'm trying to say, and don't know if you could tell, but I had been out there for an hour and a half trying to get that 15-minute video, which I don't know how long it's going to be now, but hopefully not 18. The point is that I was not coming up, majority was not the word I was looking for. I was looking for significant number in the population. If you have just 1% of the population that feels discomfort from this image that you have, then that should be something to consider and something to look at and be like, okay, well, maybe we should replace this. Maybe we should get rid of it altogether, or not even replace it, just get rid of it. Replacing it would be kind of cool though, because it's modern. Let's get some new art in. We're evolving with times. It's not a bad idea. So the point is that if you have a significant number of people inside of your population, even if it's just 1%, 1% is a significant number, especially as you get higher in the tiers of what the population is, saying, I feel discomfort from this. I feel it sows discord. I don't feel that people actually look at it with the idea that it's just information about the past. Then those people's voices should be considered. There are probably even other voices that are not being heard within the population. You can't just leave it because you don't have 50% or more, or even like a 40% group of people that are saying anything. 1% should be enough to take into consideration what to do with the monument that you have there. Now, I'm not going to get into private property things. That's First Amendment issue. We're talking about public land. Now, what else can be said on this? I said something about it has to be in your community. I've never been to North Dakota. I should not be going to North Dakota and telling them about whatever monument they happen to have. I don't think they have any Confederate monuments, but if they do, I can't go up there and tell them, hey, you should tear this down because it's sowing discord and whatnot. That's for them to deal with, because you can't change the hearts and minds of people if you don't start at home in your own community first. Okay, I'm going to let you get back to the main stream again. Hopefully I don't have any more clips like this inserted in, but if I do, well, sorry.
If you have respect for what their voice has to say in your community, you can't listen to people outside of your community. It's not going to do you any good. They're not the ones that have to see it every day. It's the ones inside the community that do. So duty to all pertains in this particular case to your community. Maybe you'll find that a lot of them don't want it. Kill it. Replace it. Maybe you'll find that a lot of them do want it. All right. How do we help people progress so they don't have to feel that negative connotation when they look at this? We don't know the answers. Entire cultures have buried their history. If you have ever heard of the Göbekli Tepe, it's a great example of a piece of history that was buried. It is the oldest known archaeological site for a temple. And archaeologists say they took by hand dirt and they buried it on purpose. No one knows why. We have theories. It wasn't lost to us though. In some way, that little point of history, let's say that it was the absolute first. We don't know. We won't know until we find something older, if it was, to be completely fair. But for now, it is the oldest site. If that was the oldest site, if that was the first temple ever, what was founded there, the spirituality that was founded there enabled us today, thousands and thousands and thousands of years later, to have the ability to talk about spiritual concepts more deeply, to evolve what those spiritual concepts are into all manner of topics where we can better understand what we call in the Jedi community the Force. All of it. All of it started somewhere, and it's buried, or it was buried. It doesn't mean that we didn't gain something from it. Tearing that down does not mean that whatever it has associated with for you tears that apart. It's not an out of sight, out of mind thing. We still gained everything that we needed from it. It's been there long enough. So how do we move forward? We overcome our attachment. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to every Confederate related monument. And some of that might be just over the Confederacy, like that one that I was describing earlier. It was actually after Lincoln's assassination. So that's post-Civil War. So everything that's associated with the Civil War. everything. Go out, write down things, how you feel, and then take this paper out of your journal, burn it, release it into the water where hopefully, make sure it's water soluble before you do that. Most paper is. I don't think this paper is, so I'd have to burn it. If this was my real feelings, this was just like a example sheet. Write it all down, bury it, put it in fire, throw it in the water. Don't release it out into the air because that's littering. And it just don't do that. That's littering. And let whatever, and say something to the effect of, I release this into the force. I release these emotions into the force so that I can work on whether or not this is my fight, and if I'm going to do anything, if I can do anything about it. That doesn't mean going on Facebook and complaining. This is real work. You can't just go on Facebook and complain. That just adds to the chaos. There is no chaos, there is peace. You have to seek chaos, or you have to seek to cut through the chaos to become peaceful in order to move through anything. If you're adding to the chaos, it doesn't actually do any good. If you're out there and you're going to the courthouse or the town hall, I don't actually know if they have town hall here, but if you're out there and you're going and you're talking about it with the people that actually can enact rules, okay. Maybe you have a petition. Maybe that's all you can do is sign a petition because you don't have the time to get out there. It's not that you don't want time, it's you don't have time. So find somebody that's doing a petition for it. Go find the petition, sign it. At least then you're doing something more than going on Facebook and saying this. You can go on Facebook and say, hey, I signed a petition. That's great. At least then you can tell people where the petition is and then they can go sign it themselves. This, going on Facebook and just posting about it, that ain't gonna do you any good. You gotta get out there and actually do something. If you don't have time, if you can't do anything, forgive yourself for that. Maybe there's something else that you're doing that is just as meaningful. That is what letting go is. Letting go of your attachments, your feelings to things, allows you to see whether or not you can actually do anything to affect change. You can't just get angry about something. You can't let your emotions rule who you are. You can let them inform you who you are, but you can't let them rule you. So, Jedi, is this your battle? Is this thing something that you want to tear down? Is it something that you have the means and opportunity and mode to do anything about beyond going on Twitter and Facebook? Well, then get out there and do it. And I look forward to hearing what stories you have where you are doing it. Let people know these are the successes, these are the barriers that we have, that we're going through to get rid of these monuments. These are the problems. That way, we can all learn and communicate together and find the solutions that will work. I'll see you next time at the lighthouse. Hopefully you've gained something from this, and if you're an American, I really and truly hope that you are enjoying your 4th of July weekend.